All right, let's dive into the tip of the week. If you're just joining us, you came at the perfect time. The tip of the week here is super high value. Whether you're a startup directory or an established directory, we want to show you the value in welcoming new members to build lasting relationships and why this is important for your entire community to welcome new members, make them feel warm and fuzzy, and also steps that you can take today to optimize the way in which you welcome new members. And Pat, can you share a little bit about why it's even important to welcome your new members and why not just let them sign up and not deal with them anymore? Why is it important?
I mean, with as fast as things are moving these days, and people make decisions instantly without much thought behind them anymore. Either you saw an ad that was interesting, you saw an article that got you engaged, there was something that got you to click a button, fill out a form somehow, some way, but it hasn't really made an impact on you yet. We all fill out forms, we all browse the internet, we all interact, and it's very easy to forget even things that you've signed up for. Oh, I forgot I signed up for that tool. Oh, I forgot I signed up to that community. Unless you have a plan in place to make sure that when they signed up, because they signed up for a reason, you had their interest. They were interested in something about what you had to offer. You have a very small window to follow through on what they're hoping to get out of you. It's basically the beginning of a relationship, and it's that one small window that you have to make it and basically have them become a champion of your brand. And if you don't have a good strategy in place, you may have people signing up but they're not upgrading, or they're not engaging, or they're not adding content, and that's because you haven't really figured out a good strategy for welcoming people that have become a part of your community.
Yep, I agree with that. You basically have a few moments in time where a person is going to decide if they're going to continue to follow you or they're going to choose to forget you. And having a quality welcome plan is one strategy you can utilize to sway them more towards the follow side rather than going down the forget route. But before you can start figuring out how you want to welcome and shower your members with awesome things, you need to have a plan. You need to have a guide and a map that you follow. And these are the map that you follow, the guide that you follow relates back to the hamster wheel. You need to define your audience, because if you're going to make a welcome plan and you're going to welcome new members, you have to know who you're welcoming, and you have to know what problems they have that you as a community are committed to solving. And then you have to let them know what you promise to provide them with, whether it's going to be tips, leads, more sales, information, making them feel loved. You have to know what expectations you want to set, and they have to know what you have to set their expectations, so that everyone's on the same page and you know the types of things you should be delivering to them in your welcome plan and beyond. And then lastly, you have to decide, and this kind of goes back to last week's tip of the week webinar, how automated you want things to be or how hands-on your engagement is going to be. If you have a high volume of members, you probably want to move more towards the automated route. If you have a fewer number of members, you probably want to be more hands-on, where you give direct phone calls and one-on-one love to the new signups. But these are just some things you have to have in place. And when you're defining your audience, you want to do one at a time. So we were talking about the website visitors versus the professional members. Those are two different types of audiences, and it warrants two different types of welcome plans for each one. So our suggestion is, when you're listening to this tip of the week, keep in mind that you're going to be doing this for one audience at a time.
Yeah, that's great advice, and I think that that's probably one of the things that people skip the most, is they try to build the site for everybody at the same time. But here, what we're saying is, basically, do you want to take care of the welcome experience of the end users of your site, the people that are browsing your directory, or do you want to start off by taking care of the welcome experience of the businesses or the professionals that are signing up, the members themselves? And just commit 100% to making sure that whichever audience it is that you're starting with, make that experience absolutely phenomenal. And when you've completed all of these steps that we're going to go through in today's presentation, then the reason we call it getting off the hamster wheel is because you're gonna get off, you're gonna follow all the steps, and when you're done and you've released the content, you're gonna start back and you're gonna go after the next audience, and it really doesn't stop. It's just a continual process that you can implement for your particular directory.
That's right. Yeah. Eventually, you want to have a welcome plan for all your different audiences, but start with one. Pick a lane. Because you don't want to commingle your messaging, like we mentioned, for the end users and the professional members. So what are the benefits of a quality welcome plan? Well, it's all about customer delight. Like we mentioned, you have a few moments in time to really sway them towards the follow side. And what happens when you do that for your website and your community is you're going to get continued engagement from your members after the initial sign up. They're not just going to sign up and abandon your website. You're also going to demonstrate that you're an industry leader, because ideally the assets that you follow up with will be related to knowledge that you have on the industry that your members are seeking, and therefore they'll look to you as a beacon of information for the market that you're in. Also, with the continued engagement from a welcome plan, there's higher probabilities of upgrades because there's more touch points. You're continuing to interact with the signups after they join initially. And you get members involved and participating on your website. Ideally, with a good welcome plan, you tell them what to do next on your website. You tell them how to get involved, so you get greater participation, and hopefully, as an example, is publishing member articles. If you can tell them the incentives of doing so and getting them to participate, they're going to stay within your community's universe longer. And if they're staying in your community's universe longer, you're going to have less churn rate. That basically means less cancellations of membership. So rather than your community staying stagnant or shrinking, it will continue to grow, because these are the benefits of a quality welcome plan. And in case you think you can slip by without a welcome plan, you might be able to, but you're missing out on easy wins, because a welcome plan, and it sounds like a big term and a lot of work, but we're going to show you how simple a welcome plan can actually be and the value that you can gain. So without welcoming your new members, you're basically leaving them out to dry after they sign up. So they joined your site and now there's no follow-up. Even a good welcome email is lacking. So you're basically not telling your members what to do. You're going to get less overall engagement because of that, because eventually people will forget about you and you haven't told them what to do or how to participate on your website. There's also going to be missed opportunities to connect further and also educate them, so they're not going to see you as an industry leader, so it's hard for you to establish credibility. These welcome plans are a great way to establish credibility and for them to understand the voice and persona of your company's mission. Lastly, well, not lastly, but you're going to have more abandoned or canceled membership. That goes back to the churn rate. If people don't feel like there's any value coming from your community, they'll just stop using your website. They won't come back. They'll forget about you. Eventually, they'll cancel their memberships if they're paid memberships, because they just don't know how to participate on your website, and they're probably not gaining any benefits. All of this actually makes it more expensive for you to operate your directory website. If you have a good welcome plan and members are participating on your website and they're enjoying the experience, they are going to turn into your marketers. They're going to recruit new members. They're going to do a lot of the marketing for you. And also, not just doing the marketing, but when new prospects see this activity, new prospective members see this activity from the members, it's going to make it an easier decision for them to want to join your community. So when you don't have that sense of community, you are going to have to market 10 times harder, and that becomes expensive for you as the website owner, and it makes it harder and takes longer to grow your community.
And that point is so important to me. It's really, in the past, it was all about that marketing funnel for the marketers that are on this call with us. And that was all about driving more leads that would convert into more customers. And you would say, if I want to increase my business, I just increase more leads. And the customer, the person that signs up on your directory, is actually an afterthought, because you're always thinking about that next sign up, where in fact it's a much better investment to make sure that the person that signs up on your directory has the very best experience they possibly can. If Jason signs up on my directory and he's the first ever member, and I wow him and I blow him away with quality, and I reach out to him for help with connections, and I ask him for favors to help promote my brand, I'm going to have somebody that's happy to help me out, because I've gone out of my way to make the customer experience an exceptional one. And it's actually the best investment that you can make, is focusing on the actual customers you have, rather than always focusing on bringing in new customers while ignoring your primary base.
That just goes back to the, we've heard it many times. It's more economical to keep an existing customer than to source a new customer, to find a new customer. So therefore, customer retention or member retention is less expensive than new member recruitment, potentially. So this is where this number 5 point comes in, where if you aren't retaining your customers and you're losing them because you're not establishing a good initial connection after their sign up, it could become very expensive, and your growth will be stagnant because you'll just be plateauing every month rather than going up. But don't worry, like we said, it's not that hard. A simple yet effective welcome plan can do the heavy lifting for you to create those lasting relationships with your members. So a little bit of upfront work will go a long way for you. So what are some of the goals of a quality welcome plan? We've kind of covered them, but in essence, what you want to do is create an unbreakable bond and loyal following. Now that's gonna get established over time, but it has to start somewhere. And if you've convinced someone to subscribe to your newsletter or sign up as a free or paid membership, they're just getting their feet wet. They like what they see. And we want to turn that curiosity into that loyal following. And it starts with the welcome plan and welcoming the new member to the community. So what you want to do is you want to help members feel confident about their decision to be part of their community. And that could be by providing them with relatable content for the main reason they joined, making them feel like they're at home, they're among peers and colleagues and like-minded people. You also want to show them what to do next. So people sign up and they need guidance. We were talking about providing guidance for the type of articles we want members to write. We also want guidance on how we want people to utilize our community. You can do, X, Y, and Z. You can do this. You can do that. Please do this now. Add your profile photo. Things like that. Just give them a little guidance, and they'll follow the steps because they're excited to see what your new community is all about. And that ties right into that, giving them more opportunities to participate, whether it's to view content or produce content, or explore content or produce content. These are ways to participate on your website. And then what I like, number 4 here, is showering them with more than they expected. So maybe they signed up and they thought they were just getting a very simple, access to a community. But if you can surprise them with a wealth of resources that they just unlocked and they just hit the jackpot somehow, and these don't have to be complicated resources to create. We'll cover that in just a moment. But if you can shower them with more than they expected, you're going to wow them, and there's a higher chance that they're going to want to stay connected to your community longer. And again, this all starts with after they initially join your website. And Pat came up with this one, number 5, and I really like this one, is introducing them to additional communication channels. Can you speak on that just a little bit, Pat, please?
Definitely, and I think everybody that's listening in today can agree. We've all gone a little tone deaf to emails. Even if you sign up, maybe you'll open up that first email, maybe you'll open up that second email, but after a while, even if you love the brand, if you love what they sell, even if it's an important part of your routine, you stop opening up those emails. So I find it critical at the beginning stages of the relationship that you introduce other communication channels. Why? Because if your customers or your members or your community stops opening up emails, maybe you'll invite them to a LinkedIn group, or you'll send out a personal invitation, and maybe you'll have them follow your Twitter account. Maybe you want them to join your Facebook group. But what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that, maybe my member is not opening my emails anymore, and I've lost that connection with them. But if I post something in the Facebook group, then perhaps I have a chance that they see it in that way and they can interact with it. So all of your members are going to interact with different technologies. Some people like Facebook, some people love Twitter, some people like Instagram, some people like email communication. But what's important is to diversify. And the more you diversify, the better chance you give yourself to make sure the message that you want to send out to your community is going to be heard by the most amount of people possible.
And some pitfalls to avoid with that, Pat, actually. You don't need to be everywhere. Find out where the majority of your audience participates. It could be LinkedIn, it could be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be YouTube, it could be Instagram. These are all social networks that exist for a reason. And you don't need to, man all of them. Right as of right now, Brilliant Directories doesn't have an Instagram account that we manage. We're focusing our resources on Facebook, and I think it's doing a fantastic job as an additional channel to communicate with our Brilliant Directories community. And
Jason, just so people can relate, because it's always nice to make it a personal experience, you also have to experiment, because you don't know what community your community will react to. So when I believe when Brilliant Directories started out, you had given LinkedIn a try at the beginning, correct? And it wasn't exactly what you were hoping in terms of engagement, and you were willing to adapt to that and be flexible and try new things, and I believe that worked out better.
Absolutely, yeah. We had a LinkedIn group for several years. People would join it, but the format in which LinkedIn groups managed conversations and discussions actually wasn't very constructive. So, last year or at some point, we asked everyone to join our new Facebook group. We started with 0 members in Facebook. Now we have over 1,000, close to 1,500 members in the Facebook group. But that was a better way to engage the Brilliant Directories community. More people were on Facebook. Conversations are managed better. Discussions are managed better in Facebook, and LinkedIn was lacking. But there are thriving LinkedIn groups for a reason, because for those certain types of audiences, it's working. Twitter is more of like a news feed. You go on there and you're just getting a stream of news of people you're following. And sometimes you'll comment or retweet, but that's a place just to absorb, information, generally speaking. So it just depends how your community engages with your type of content, and figuring out where you would best fit in. Because you also, again, we all have limited resources at the end of the day, so you want to make sure that your efforts and your energy are going into the right places. That's why I was mentioning you don't need to be everywhere, just be in the right places.
Exactly. Choose one, give it your all, see if it works. If it doesn't, adapt, and you will find your niche.
All right. There are different ways. There are different types of welcome plan follow-up strategy. So a welcome plan is basically a follow-up plan for your new members. So here are some areas and some ways and some types of places where you can continue the welcome experience after a member initially signs up. First one is the creating a powerful thank you page after the member signs up. You can take them to a page with additional resources, make it more like a portal. You can figure out what you want to do, but something that makes them feel warm and fuzzy and kind of tells them what to do next. That kind of ties into the initial email after the sign up. It could be the email that they receive that kind of explains what to do next, has some links to engage further with your community, and tells them what to do next. So the thank you page, the initial email after signups. And then again, this goes back to the idea of automation versus being hands-on. If you'd like to be more hands-on, you have the resources to do so, and it's worth your time and energy. You may want to make direct phone calls. I'm a big advocate if you're a directory just starting out, if you're a new community, I'm a talkative person. I like to call my members, welcome them, ask them why they joined, help them complete their profiles, set them up for success, see if they have other colleagues that would like to join the site. So in those cases, a welcome call can be highly effective. Just have yourself a little script or a little format that you follow on that welcome call. And it can be a great way to build a lasting relationship. Emails.
I always believe you should call your first 100 members. Just make a plan of it, regardless of how much you're charging. It's great to hear and connect with your actual end users. So set a goal to talk to your first 100 members, and you'll really learn a lot about the type of things that they're looking for, what their expectations are when they signed up. So you can see if you're in line with what you know you'll be able to deliver or not.
Even better, you're absolutely right, Pat, and take notes while you call them and write down the buzzwords that they use when they explain their problem. And your ultimate goal is to find out, this is how political strategies work, is they do focus groups, they find out buzzwords, and then those are the words that they use on their website and in their marketing. So find out how they're wording their problems, how they refer to certain terminology, and make sure that your website mirrors that terminology and addresses those specific problems that they're sharing with you on those phone calls. So it's almost like research that you're doing on those phone calls. And again, this little bit of work will help your website grow 100x, because your website's going to be smarter than the competition with this information. Also, standard ongoing emails and newsletter, monthly newsletters, shower them with awesome content, high value industry information, just things that make them feel warm and fuzzy, make them feel important, and make them feel like they're a valued member of your community and that they're gaining something from being participating on it. We've heard this a lot. I know, I believe Colette has mentioned this from New Zealand, and some other attendees here today are local meetups. If you're a local community or directory website and it makes sense, you could go ahead and have a cup of coffee with potential members or your existing members. You can have a conversation, meet them in person, and that's, again, another way to create a long-lasting relationship. And a fantastic way to welcome a new member is to just go ahead and shake their hand and meet them in person. And number 6 is something that's been more common the last few years, are webinar introductions to your community. It could be pre-recorded or live webinars. You can have them, every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and your new members get a welcome email to join that webinar, to join you in additional channels, as we just mentioned. And the webinar explains to them the benefits and tells them that they're valued and what to do next, and all the resources available to them now that they're part of this community. So webinar introductions, video introductions, can be highly effective. In fact, the webinar introduction or the pre-recorded video could be something that you place on your thank you page. So a lot of these could be intermixed together, utilized together, or you can keep them separate. So now that we know the types of welcome plans, thank you page, email sign up, direct phone calls, what should we include in those? And what you should include are your best assets. And if you don't have any good content yet or resources that would be of value to potential members, you should create it. That should be part of the hamster wheel. Part of it is creating the copy and the assets that you're going to use in your marketing efforts. And your marketing efforts are the welcome plan that you're putting in place. Pat, the one about additional communication channels. When someone signs up to your site, what is really the benefit of asking them to join something else? Is that something that's going to annoy them, or how do you make that something into it seems like it's extra work. You just signed up for my site, now sign up for something else. How do you make that a benefit?
So normally, let's say it's a lawyer directory, just to use a specific example. Normally it's difficult for my members to communicate with other members, and I know we want to think that our directory is what is the most useful tool that we're offering to them, but surprisingly, oftentimes what people are most excited about is to connect with like-minded individuals, people that are facing similar problems, and having additional communication channels, especially when they can interact with other members of the directory and ask questions and answer questions, that will oftentimes become the most valuable part of what it is you have to offer. So take away the promotional opportunities that comes with that. Just the fact that you really are showing your members that you're servicing them. You're trying to make sure that you give them opportunities to connect with other people, ask questions, and you do care
Gotcha.
about them being able to grow.
So I think the key word there was exclusive invites to additional communication channels. So now that they've become a member, now they can access these additional channels to participate on. Got it.
Exactly.
Got it. So also what you want to do as far as creating assets is creating quality articles that provide high value industry insights. So what does that jargon mean? Is let's use the lawyer example. You used a lawyer directory. You want to create articles that are going to help them perform better in their industry. And that's content that they can only access by being a part of your site, and things that you want to include in the welcome plan. So now that they've joined your site, oh great, now I'm getting this awesome article on 10 ways to increase my customers each month, or whatever it might be. Video tutorials are fantastic as well. I really like them on how to best use the community. We've seen in the Facebook group, a lot of people create videos for potential members on what they can gain and how to best utilize the website itself. And those video tutorials are great for marketing. They show up in YouTube. They can be repurposed for many different marketing assets. And yeah, people like visual things like video tutorials that you can actually talk to your audience. Also creating how-to guides for the industry, or checklists that your members should make sure, the to-do lists or checklists that will help their business make sure that they're doing everything they should be doing to be either a part of your website or the best they can be in their industry. And it's easy to create 10-step checklists for X, Y, and Z. And then also other resources that, again, propel them towards being better at what they do, or providing them with the information and expectations that you promised them on the initial sign up. Another thing I like to do on welcome plans is showcase other members who have completed their profiles, have added a lot of content to the website. Show the new member that you're giving visibility to members who are participating on your website. And that's a great way to lead by example, and the new members will learn that if they participate on your website, they add content or whatever your end goal is, they too can be featured in your newsletters or wherever you are featuring your members. So showcasing your best members is also a great strategy to show the new members that they are part of a group, and hopefully those members that you're showcasing are very relatable to the new members. Maybe it's a prominent doctor of a doctor directory and whatnot. And then lastly, always throughout this process, explain to them why they should do any of the actions you want them to do, and incentivize them. Incentivize them with access to more features, or providing them with more visibility. Just figure out what drives them to want to be part of the community and do more of those things, and you will have very happy new members along the way.
And I think it's good to try to come up with a real life example, because it seems daunting, and that's why we go back to that hamster wheel, and it always starts off with, what problem are you solving and which audience are you addressing? I remember in a previous webinar, it's a concept I really, really liked, and it was about martial art dojos and studios, and the problem that they were tackling was the fact that these days they call them McDojos, and there are dojos just launching everywhere, but the instructors they don't have experience, and they don't have a high standard. So perhaps their entire mission, the initial problem they're solving, is for the end user, and the end user, what they're trying to do is they're building a directory of dojos that meet a certain standard, and they've gone through all these steps of ensuring that standard, and they have a vision and they have a mission to that directory. So they have a community for parents that are wanting to enroll their kids, and they care about finding the right dojos where they have instructors that abide by that vision, and they want to make sure that they enroll their kids in the right dojo. And if they're not sure, then they should join this community, and that community will be of like-minded parents that also want to make sure that that quality is maintained. And then what they want to do is they want to write articles such as how to tell the difference between a dojo that has the right type of instructor leading it and the benefits of enrolling your kids in a dojo that has experience behind it. It's not just a somebody that took one martial arts class and said, I'm going to launch a dojo. And then they're saying why they should be participating, why they should be supporting the directory, because if it's important to them to support quality martial arts and to make sure that the dojos that abide by these standards and they believe into this vision that we have, that you need to help support them as well, and you need to spread the word, and we need to be a community. So it all starts by, what is that first need I'm filling? Who am I talking to? And then following this formula that we're sharing with you today, and just making sure you have a ton of content and supporting material to help support that one need that you're filling that makes your website different from the rest. And when all of that is packaged together, and when you make sure that when somebody signs up, they get that information delivered to them in an efficient way, then at that point you can come back and you can start at number one again and say, well, now I'm going to fill the need for the dojos, and I'm going to start this process again.
Well said, Pat. Yeah, and if you follow this process, you're doing things in order, and the work will complete itself just by cycling through these steps. So I wanted to come back to this slide. All right, let's get back up to speed where we were. All right. And the most important thing is, what can you guys do today to make sure that you're at least using some of the strategies here in welcoming new members with a welcome plan? And like we mentioned, a little bit of effort will go a long way. So here are some things you guys can do today. If you wanted to take notes on a slide, this would be the one. The first one is to create content on your site or curate resources that have true value for your new members, and you could surprise them with these resources after they sign up. I like to do checklists, whether it's like 6 steps to make sure your business is ready for 2019, and just provide them with these fun things that have some high value for them. What you should do today is update your welcome email template after new members sign up. I should go in the admin and show where that is, right, Pat? All right, take that as a yes. So for each of your membership levels, I'll just go to Manage Products here, and let's just edit one of these. Premium member Rick. So you can choose the sign-up email that's sent, and you can create your own, or you can choose from one of the pre-made ones. In this case, it's using the Welcome Basic template, but you can you can create your own custom email and then select it here. So anyone who signs up to this membership level will receive this email template. So where do you edit that? Well, let's go on over to Emails and Email Templates. I'll do a quick search just for the word basic. And it looks like we have this one customized already. We'll just click on Edit. And so this is the stock email template that comes. It just has some basic messages, welcome to the community. But you could take some time, put some title text here like this, like, it says, thank you for joining the fastest community. And then I'll just give you an example. You can just copy that and then say, oops, you can do something like what to do next, and you just create different sections, even if it's just this email, and have maybe 3 sections, welcoming them, what to do next, and additional resources that you'll love. Join our Facebook group and things like that. It's easy to create link text. You could just type what you want and then select the link here, and you can send them to the Facebook page that you want right here. And now you have link text here. Why not make it bold? So there's a lot that you can do. There's a lot you can accomplish just by curating and crafting a nice welcome email per membership level that's for that specific person. And that ties into number 3. In the welcome email, explain what the membership benefits are and what to do next, and also provide them with some additional resources that they can further explore your entire community, the additional channels that Pat has mentioned a few times. Also, what you can do is share your best content. Perhaps give them access to a section of your site that is only for members. And like Jeff was talking, he wanted to have premium resources just for a certain type of membership level and hidden from everyone else. So give them access to that premium content. It could be a library of checklists and ebooks that you've put together. Again, they could be simple things. They could be 10-step guides. They don't have to be 100-page ebooks or checklists. So just create a nice cluster of resources that they now have access to. That will make them happy. And then again, invite the members to other channels. So that's a way for them to explore other avenues to stay connected to your community beyond just the directory website that they've just joined. And then lastly, keep the conversation going with a nice pulse in those additional channels. Post updates from time to time. What's really awesome about the Brilliant Directories platform is that it literally has 1,000,001 features built into it. Now here's a strategy for everyone. You don't have to release all the features to your members at the same time. As far as your members are concerned, you guys have developers constantly creating new features and updating the website. So, you might not have coupons from day one, but maybe 6 months after launching your site, you now allow your members to publish coupons on the website, and that could be a huge newsletter and announcement on the website, or whatever the feature is that you want to unlock and release with your Brilliant Directories website. So when you're starting out, keep things basic and simple, and you can release and unlock some of your BD features over time and make them big announcements. Say that your development team has been working round the clock to create X, Y, and Z, and make that positive news for your community, and they'll feel like this is an organization that is growing and that has a pulse. And you can keep them updated with newsletters, or again in those additional channels, or you can have your company blog and post it in your blog, share the blog article on your social media channels. Just keep the pulse of your website going so people know that you have your lights on for your business, for your organization, and that it's okay for them to participate with you.